Hello and welcome to Toowoomba Grammar Week, where we go back in time to round 5 2012. We go up the range where Toowoomba Grammar host Ipswich Grammar. My name is Michael Chettle, and joining me once again, back in time, Nick Darvanese Davo. 8 years ago, round 5. How good's this?
It's really good, and one of the great Toowoomba Grammar teams of the last decade. Talent littered throughout, unquestionably some of the best stars to emerge from this proud school up the mountain range on show today for a big clash against Ipswich Grammar, who are real traditional rivals for Toowoomba.
Well, we look at the round 5 matches for today, but interestingly enough that we go up the range, like I said before, grammar school. Toowoomba Grammar, it's just such a rich history up there. We've both been up there a couple of times before. It's how good's the drive up there?
Oh, it's a great drive, especially going to watch the games at the Toowoomba Grammar School, one of the great viewing venues, a natural coliseum created by those hills. Not a bad seat in the house, and then a good trip to the Spotted Cow afterwards. Never goes astray.
Spotted Cow, yeah, good hamburgers up there. I remember last year going up there, sensational smell in the air for the hamburgers there too.
Darling Downs beef, cannot miss it. And looking across the rest of round 5 2012, I guess not much relevance for us today, but the Battle of the Colours happening out at Gregory Terrace's Tennyson home, and out at Northgate, a real cracker brewing. Brisbane Grammar School chasing down a big BBC lead. Maybe we'll bring you some of that information as the game goes on. But not what we're here for today, Chats. It's going to be a 2012 clash between Toowoomba Grammar and Ipswich, leading out to the Toowoomba Grammar School. Marcus Van Zardy, Alistair Stewart and James McCall in the front row. The skipper, Phil Pocketer, partnering Alex Stevens in the second. In the back row, Nick Willison filling in for Tom Lone, partnering Stuart Begor at open side and Anton Manenko at the back. In the halves, the talented Adam Deck and Tom Kidson, the fly half. On the wings, Harry White and Liam Jurd. In the centres, a powerful combination of Blaze Hartley and the future Brisbane Bronco, Jordan Drew. And one of the great fullbacks to emerge from Toowoomba Grammar, Jonah Placid at the back. A real electric talent. And coached by Jason Gilmore as well, who we'll discuss later on, I'm sure.
So we look at the Ipswich Grammar School coming today as a visiting team. Aaron Pleach, which is a skipper. David Harris, Latham Takau, Dan Preen, Jack Parcell, Connor Mulheron, Jake Stephen and Jamison for Anna Schultz, Lloyd Sims and Aaron Adcock, Carlin Anderson and Tom McKittrick on the wings, Mike Teller, Landon Hayes and James Todd at fullback for Ipswich Grammar School.
And certainly some real talent throughout this Ipswich backline particularly. And we're going to get straight into this game, but a few massive matchups. I think particularly James Todd, who'd go on to be an Australian schoolboys fullback the following year, at fullback for Ipswich Grammar, going head-to-head with Jonah Placid, the Rockhampton Origins, I should say, born in Orange, came down to make a name for himself at Toowoomba.
So we can see the last history between these two teams has been quite one-sided. The last in 2011, 41-0, kick-off straight away. Ipswich Grammar School kicking deep, but as you can hear, the ball bounced up early. Here we go, early ball for Ipswich Grammar, but as you said in the opening, Darvo, it's a real Coliseum feel. And I remember sitting up here last year, looking down on the park.
We see a bit of the history of the Chelmsford Cup, two of Queensland's oldest schools. I think Ipswich Grammar, the oldest in Queensland. Toowoomba Grammar, I believe, third. And for a good 60 years, they competed for the Chelmsford Cup. And we hope that maybe one day we'll see this famous cup resurface.
There's no need for head-to-head, boys. Hey, it takes 2 to tango. Sort it out, please. Thank you.
Oh, good old school comment, takes 2 to tango. So
you know a bit about tangoing, Michael Chettle, wouldn't you?
In 1992, I was tangoing a fair bit. I'll leave that one
Still talking about dancing?
Yeah, of course. So Adam Deck with a feed, first scrum. Manenko at number 8. Just a bit of a gets on the outside. Here we go. Jonah Placid finds the wing. Harry White. White is a foot race to the end.
What a chase down tackle.
What a sensational tackle coming over at Landon Hayes. Just pilfering that ball coming in from the side though. Wow. Jonah Placid.
Some of this strike power in Toowoomba Grammar on show early. That lovely drifting ball, I believe was Blaze Hartley putting it out in front of Jonah Placid, who just cut Ipswich to shreds. And Harry White, gee, thought you might have had the speed there, but a wonderful cover tackle from Tom McKittrick.
So crash ball by Van Zarty. Vanzati scores. Well, referee lets that one go, Darvo. Looked to be a bit of a lazy runner behind the lead runner, but first try early.
The first try going to Sweden's only professional rugby player, Marcus Vanzati, hailing from the resort town of Järvsö in central Sweden.
Not at all. Not at all.
And I think we got some footage we might be able to show you. He scored an identical try just a few weeks ago against Brisbane Grammar. They called that the Falcon, a bit of set-piece brilliance. And seemingly undefensible, you'd have to say.
Well, not the prettiest set move in the world, but quite effective on both occasions.
Well, and they had the blindside runners queuing up down the left, but I don't know how effective a deception they were. I think the ball was always going to the big loose head prop, who came up to Toowoomba Grammar, moved down to South Australia with his family where he was playing a bit of AFL. But I ran into some problems with his hard tackling. AFL wasn't the sport for him, so Jason Gilmore, the Toowoomba Grammar coach, brought him up to Toowoomba and set him on the path to representing South's Magpies in Premier Rugby and the Queensland Reds, where he played 5 games in 2017.
Thank you.
I believe now at the Western Force as well.
Restarts on and behind the line, please, mate. Thank you.
Well, an early a blast to start for Toowoomba Grammar, up on the scoreboard. And the future Reds, placid. Vanzati doing all the damage in the first 3 minutes.
So kickoff goes deep, down through into the 22. Ball hits the deck. Beats first couple of tackles by Jordan Drew. Drew finding his front. Clean out well by Toowoomba.
Play advantage.
Just seeing what kind of numbers they can get on the outside of the Ipswich Grammar defensive pattern, but referee calls offside early. Well, we'll just go back to that kick by Adam Deck. He's got a very interesting kicking style. Not much left to right action, but he missed what you call a real sitter.
Well, who's a real talent for Toowoomba Grammar this year. Went on to play some Premier Grade for Easts after school before finding his way to Wellington in the Mitre 10 Cup in New Zealand. So you don't sort of fluke your way to a gig like that. There's some talent there.
Well, we can just see the touch judge's flag as well. The wind is quite strong going from right to left, and you can hear in the referee's mic as well. Ball goes up. Potgieter can't take it cleanly. Comes around the back. Running through the middle. Pops the ball well. But turnover, hold the phone. Teller looking on the outside, but intercept. It's flick out the back to the hooker, Stewart. Stewart just settling things down. Well, some good pumping runs here by the inside-outside centre from both Toowoomba Grammar. Darvo, good early metres up the middle.
Not a bad head-to-head matchup. Mika Teller, ordinarily an outside centre for Ipswich Grammar. I believe they swapped jerseys, him and Landon Hayes, for this game, maybe to counter the punch of Blaze Hartley.
It's got to be straight, please.
But a great little carry down the right-hand wing by Alistair Stewart, the hooker for Toowoomba Grammar, the older brother of Queensland Reds centre Hamish.
Touch.
Nick Darvanese, where does he get this stuff from? Unbelievable. Fantastic. So messy scrum at the back there, but well cleaned up by Ipswich Grammar.
Blue on.
And this is really hard with wind coming into your face as well.
And there's the first carry for big Latham Takau, the biggest man in GPS rugby ever up to this point.
So trying to get out of trouble. Sims goes deep.
Stop.
Good purchase on the ball. That's Billy Sullivan coming off the bench. Early injury.
Oh, what a shot.
So Placid gets put on his back, but presents that ball.
Mitch Kittrick's put on 2 wonderful tackles in the opening phases.
Deck looking around, taking his time. Flat run. Not committing much to the breakdown here. Ipswich Grammar turning that over. That's a lovely kick, right foot kick. And hits what is the cricket pitch there. Williams asked to do a lot of work early. Oh, that's a hit and a half. That's a great hit. Teller coming through, opening the ribs up.
Pardon?
An early end to the day for Harry White, the left winger for Toowoomba Grammar, it seems. Replaced by that man, Billy Sullivan, thrust into the cauldron early. Yeah, not a bad left from Micatello. We're going to play a lot of wing for the South Magpies in Premier Rugby.
9. Stay off the flank and halfback, please.
Yeah, very famous name through Queensland Premier Rugby as well, the Teller name.
Yeah, I believe 3 brothers were there. Samisi, Teddy, and Mika. Young Mika, the youngest.
So first scrum for Ipswich. Going out to the left-hand side there, Teller with an offload to the opposite winger. He finds the number 11, and that's Anderson. Anderson goes short, scores. Winger to winger. McKittrick chimes in to Anderson. Hit back there by Ipswich Grammar.
Well, a great little play from the Mackay cutter. He's been everywhere, Colin Anderson, in the world of rugby league. Played a bit of Broncos under-20s and has been a staple of the Queensland Q Cup with the Blackhawks, with the Cutters. He's been just about everywhere. But I'll tell you this, what Tom McKittrick, the opposite winger, not so heralded, but hasn't he been impressive with every touch of the ball? Chiming into the line and setting up a speedy Colin Anderson, who went on to play fly half the following year.
Well, Micatello wanted to offload that ball, get out to the Ferraris on the wing, and you can tell that's exactly a good, classy touch by Teller.
And one of the great things about this history project we're doing, Chets, we get to draw back all these wonderful matches from history and show them to an audience in a new light. And we get to draw down on the very best of these matches. This 2012 clash already shaping up to be a memorable encounter between some very hot form teams.
Well, kicking into this wind, you'd hate to be a fly half or a goal kicker this afternoon. Kicking into the wind, you want to get a bit closer.
30 seconds.
Ipswich Grammar been in good form this year, Darvo. As we know, like you said, looking back in the past, Grammar's been very strong so far. Strikes it. Oh, the wind just takes it a little bit.
Well, it wasn't a bad strike. But yeah, no, we absolutely talk about good form. Well, how's this? Beating the future champions, Ipswich Grammar, an ambush at the old school oval. Brisbane Grammar undefeated up to this point. And Latham Tackau, the big fellow, the beautiful offload, finding Dan Preen, who played Australian schoolboys this year, the second row lock. And we see a wonderful piece of counter-attacking play from Jamison Farnona Schultz. Now with the DC Old Glory, but he's had a wonderful career, taking them all corners of the rugby globe, putting it on a platter for Landon Hayes, the outside centre, who's also now down at the East Tigers Rugby Club.
Yeah, it's a big number 8 running. He's got plenty of time on his hands there. Had options both left and right.
And I think Grammar's defence just couldn't hold on, but it was a match that would go on to serve them well, the Grammar boys, because their defence became one of their strongest points as Hayes goes in for a double.
Well, I'll go back to, again, Teller. Just that little deft touch on the left-hand side of the park.
James Todd successful, kicking his side to a 25-21 lead. And that would be the final score. And another scalp in Ipswich Grammar's famous giant killing legacy. I'll tell you what, if you're a championship team or there or thereabouts, you do not want to be coming up against Ipswich, particularly on their home ground.
Well, we come back to 2012 round 5, where unfortunately Jordan Drew just couldn't hold onto that ball coming through.
Well, we spoke a little about Latham Tackau, the tight head prop for Ipswich Grammar. You see him now, a monster of a man. Until Gavin Luca came through, and then Romeo Taniello, also at Ipswich Grammar afterwards. Latham was the biggest it got. I mean, we look back in the history, in the archives, and we see references to strapping young forwards in Stones who weigh up to about 85 kilos, was a monster back in the day. So when he gets up to 130 kegs like Latham was, you're certainly blowing records out of the water.
You're a giant, all right. So the two number 9s go battle head-to-head. Comes out on Toowoomba's side, but a little bit too messy.
Well, a few little knock-ons from Toowoomba Grammar. Skipper Phil Potgieter want to settle down the nerves a little bit. It comes from this Toowoomba Grammar team. They knew how talented they were, coached by Jason Gilmore. Obviously took the Australian under-20s all the way to the World Cup Grand Final just last year. So some coaching pedigree there. They know they can really play with the ball, and those little knock-ons, just the enthusiasm to use it. What a great little matchup here with Van Zardy, the future Queensland Red, Western Force prop, up against Takao, the monster.
So goes a bit too quick there for the engage.
Mate, it's well over here. It's where the scrum is, not where I am.
Okay, go over that half an inch that way. That's it. Well done, Lloyd Sims. Gives out to the running David Harris. Harris gets a few yards more than Toowoomba would like. A bit deeper the running of fly half Adcock. It's a bit of a ding-dong battle at the breakdown at the moment. Pleash, the skipper, offloads. Another offload there. The offloads just goes out to the right-hand side. McKittrick showing a clean set of heels. Taken well by Placid, was it?
Well, Deck and Placid doing very well to shut down a dangerous threat. McKittrick looming large on that right wing. Just couldn't find support at Toowoomba Grammar, forced a turnover inside their 22.
Well, you could see, you heard the call, line speed, but Ipswich Grammar just shifting the ball 3 passes away and really caught them unawares. So Potgieter takes the ball down. Oh, the big body of Takao. He's holding them all up there by himself.
Well, a windy day, you probably would have wanted to shoot off a little bit more than that. As you see from our camera, Vander's position deep within this Ipswich Grammar travelling crowd.
So Harris with the throw. See where they go in this windy condition. They go to 4. Well done. Pops the ball out to Sims. Probably would like that one again. Adcock finding Teller. Teller with his outside man just overrunning it a little bit. But Teller gets put back a couple of metres. Double pumps for Anna Schultz.
Advantage blue. Advantage blue.
Well, it's a bit scrappy there at the moment, but Placid looks around. Placid.
There he goes.
Placid shows a clean set of heels. Oh, the pass just drops down a little bit around the ankles. Stewart with great cover, as a good hooker should.
Onside.
Well, he looks up, didn't want Van Zardy there. He wanted some speed, Ben.
Let him play it.
Sullivan goes to scrum half. Short ball. Contact is good. Rillerton. Again, Darvo, a little bit scrappy, but Billy Sullivan finding a lot of work in the first few minutes of his game.
Well, Toowoomba not lacking for committed runners.
Minenko. Sorry, beg your pardon, Bugoi. Well, this has been a good defensive read by Ipswich Grammar so far. They've really thwarted Toowoomba Grammar's defence.
Yeah, I think the 2 busts from Jonah Placid through the middle of the field.
Move out of that tackle zone.
Or it's just that speed is really the only thing that's even troubled Toowoomba Grammar so far. Ipswich Grammar, I should say.
Sure.
Just very smooth in his running style, wasn't he, Placid? Just doesn't look like he's running fast, but...
Well, back in the days before Double Take Sports, the only exposure the kids in Brisbane had to watch Toowoomba Grammar games out there were these little 2-minute highlight clips that came out every Monday morning on a green and gold rugby. So we'd all tune in and see what had happened around the competition. Gee, it was a different time than what we got today. But one of those real stars of those 2-minute video clips on a Monday morning was Jonah Placid. I mean, he really had a reputation built on that electric running game. Just so difficult to handle. And there's no surprise he went on to start for the Schoolboys against New Zealand in a really rare win over the New Zealand Schoolboys over at NZ.
I still remember when I was playing Darvo, I used to read the newspaper on a Sunday morning. Who scored tries yesterday, last week? Well, you know, I was going to say, you can start doing that in the Gold Coast newspaper, Darvo, writing scores.
Oh, there's still that for the traditionalists. There's definitely still that around.
13.
Gee, it would have been full of Michael Chettle, those 1992 papers, wouldn't
And
they?
every one of them have been cut out, and they're in my scrapbook at home with Pat Chettle. My mum used to take
Sure it's clean.
I'll bring him in one day. You can.
I'd enjoy that, mate. Please do.
It's not a very long read.
Well, the penalty goal for Toowoomba Grammar, putting them 3 points ahead.
Sorry, I forgot about the game for a second there. Here we go, kick off again.
In front.
Wow.
Well, you don't see that very often, do you?
No.
As well. Well in
So
front.
he's called them on both sides there.
Yeah, we will.
I think we spoke about it over the last couple of years.
I see we
Referees
want
have been a
scrum
little bit
option.
more relaxed
We'll go over
in that
here.
regards there.
I actually don't mind that, though. It's one rule where I think referees probably could inject themselves more. There's no good when you're trying to launch an attacking platform to have blokes miles offside bearing down on you. It's just
And
probably a safety issue as well.
And the game in this day and age, it's a game with centimetres and inches, isn't it? So
I think you just want to one or two early penalties, set the message, then let the boys adapt and give the receiving team a bit of space. Don't mind that one bit.
Pause. Engage.
So right on the halfway line. Van Zardi and Takao having a good battle on the left-hand side. Toowoomba Grammar again coming around. There's a slip over. Here's Placid. This should, oh, he's called it back. The referee's called it back. Jonah Placid was in.
Well, what a combination that's proving to be for Toowoomba Grammar. Blaze Hartley and Jonah Placid. Really a handful, starting to cause a lot of trouble for Ipswich defence.
I just think he was too fast.
He may
Mate,
have overrun the pass, yeah.
Just be conscious at the scrum. I don't need a head-to-head on this side.
Okay. Well, of course, our angle, it's not going to be,
On the other side. So I need it here.
our vantage point will not be
I
the
don't need you standing
best
up
to
either.
work it
You need
out.
to stay steady and square. It's an easy penalty to give away.
Let's just watch it. The referees come onto this side of the scrum just to see what kind of dark arts, as Nick Darvanese calls it, on this side.
Engage.
Better scrum by both sides this time. Look at Van Zardi getting underneath Takao.
It's good from Teller.
Teller coming out of trouble. Wow, I'll tell you what, he had no right to get there. Well, Ipswich Grammar rumbling through the middle. That's a rumble and a half. Oh, there's some contact.
Jordan Drew, yep.
Great contact. Double pumps to James Todd. Seems to be a bit of confusion now what to do in this third phase.
Onside here. Onside.
Good line speed.
Roll 7.
Bugoi not rolling away, but that's very good line speed trying to shut down Ipswich Grammar's attack.
He's speedy, isn't he, Stu Begor?
7's got to roll.
He just gets off the line, drops the shoulder, got trapped in that breakdown so he couldn't roll away. But certainly that's penalisable.
It's always interesting to see when there's a big wind. I was always confused whenever they say, would you want to run into the wind or again, with the wind? I'd always run into it in the first half because you just never usually use it in the first half. It's always running with the wind second half. So it's interesting, the tactic of winning the toss. Well played. Cuts out there was James Todd going to first receiver.
You had to go.
To Cow. Goes to his front row partner, Pleash. Teller with another great touch to McKittrick. McKittrick gets
What a shot.
shot
Billy
by-
Sullivan. Good on you.
Well, again, just a slight little touch, get it out to your speed men.
Well, this Grammar defense, Toowoomba Grammar defense, certainly abrasive, certainly up in their face, challenging Ipswich at every turn. And there's been a few little knock-ons creeping into the game now.
Although it's been a bit of a stop-start game, there's been some real highlights so far in the first 21 minutes, and I just was quite surprised. 21 minutes gone, it's gone quite fast.
Well, Jordan True wasn't a thumping shot on the opposite side of the field for
It's hard to understand why they're still head-to-head. Sort it out, please.
made his NRL debut just 1 year after this game for the Brisbane Broncos. You don't get many of those 18-year-old. Yeah, played one game. And he got signed by the Cronulla Sharks afterwards. Went down to Sydney but couldn't get a game. And he's been running around in the Intrust Super Cup ever since.
So Ipswich Grabber put on some pressure. Number 8 picks up Minenko. Minenko takes the opposite number 8 with him. There's a wrestle there. Goes back near the 22, using that wind to advantage. Hits the deck.
Nowhere near on, mate.
And James Todd, the future Australian schoolboy, trying to create something from the back.
So Todd finds his front.
Well, Aaron Pleach, another Australian schoolboy, but from this year's team.
Just a little offload there by some big men. Again, Teller finding some speed on the right-hand side was Hayes. Kicks on the inside. The wind took that absolutely like you wouldn't believe there.
Well, a great injection of chaos into this match, wasn't it? That banana kick back on the inside. Could have been anything.
McCall. Well, I don't think in the first 23 minutes of any game we've seen every prop passing. Every single one of them had a great offload.
Yeah, no, tremendous skills on show.
Just great to see the evolution of the front rower. Darvo go back to the old days. They were just take it up and that's it. But now,
Pause. Engage.
Even 8 years ago, catch and pass. So Adam Deck finds the running.
Liam Jerd, look at him go.
That's good defence by the number 8, exactly where your number 8 should be. And there's your blind side flanker, Mulheron.
We're talking about Australian schoolboys. Liam Jerd would go on to represent them the following year. Some great speed on show.
And Zardi, try scorer this afternoon so far. It's a bit scrappy. Toowoomba Grammar will probably want that ball a little bit quicker next time. Just finding Kidston. Kidston can't get past the tackle. That's got to hurt every one of them. Looks a bit harder, that part of the ground. Tackled by David Harris.
Well, some great work with the breakdown from Ipswich, turn that over.
So Harris does the job. Just
a great little chop tackle, Alistair Stewart.
Great tackling.
On 10.
Well, certainly a common feature of those Stewart boys, those low chops.
So Parcell just couldn't get that ball offloading to a rampaging runner on the outside. Takao going over the halfway line.
Well, who's the man to bring him down? Stewart again. That's one way to do it.
Well, they can't run without legs. Doesn't matter what age you are. Goes out to Hayes. Hayes looking. He flicks the ball to McKittrick. McKittrick this time can't find Teller.
And Placid with some room to experiment.
Placid wants to go high. Gives himself some room. Goes very high. Ball goes back. Back to Todd. Could we see an old school kicking duel?
Yeah, I know.
Well,
diving take from Jerd.
Jerd looks around. And Todd, the kicker.
It's a bit of a mop of a haircut as well, isn't it, for Jerd?
Well, turnover by Mulheron. Mulheron was scrappy, but again, another turnover. Goes back to Toowoomba Grammar. It's a turnover-a-thon. Double pumps. Plenty of time on the hands. And Placid looks up, around. It's a gutsy move.
And there's
8.
Schultz.
Likes that part of the park on the left-hand side. We saw in the highlights from last week. Very dominant down the left-hand channel. Oh, the big men collide again. Very flat by Ipswich Grammar. But again, Toowoomba Grammar coming off the line very fast. Jinking run by Sims. Well, they seem to go left to right all of a sudden. Now they want to go straight through them.
Oh, the obstruction.
Beyond the tackle.
Oh, that's questionable, but I tell you what, you can see they've changed their way they're playing in this last 5 minutes. They've gone from left and right, trying to play on the outside of Toowoomba Grammar, but now they want to go through. What a great tactic. Love seeing the change.
What about that X-Factor skill from Tommy McKittrick as well? A dangerous bouncing ball chipped into their backfield, and the kick pass. I wonder if it was deliberate.
I bet you if you asked him, of course it would be. Potgieter goes up. Again, another short little pass, but the defence of Jack Parcell was waiting. Oh, there's a pick up there by Jordan Drew.
Well, he might be in trouble, Jordan Drew. I'm not quite sure what for.
Well, there's a pick up. He just... Let's listen to the referee.
Oh, right. You pick him up, you bring him down safely. So, thank you. Penalty, you're welcome.
So, I think you saw him just let him go in the air, which I think you would have seen a yellow card in 2020 guaranteed.
Oh, well, possibly, but I think a penalty only was maybe the fair call. Certainly no more than that. Well, the flag goes up, and a nice little touch finder for Ipswich Grammar puts them right into the heart of Toowoomba territory.
Line out. Yes.
There's David Harris. He's got to throw over Phil Potgieter and Alex Stevens to get this ball back.
Not an easy task with this wind as well, as we keep saying. So Potgieter at 2. The go just goes between the 2 and 4. Well taken. But wasn't straight, looks like. Yeah, you're right. 2 very good line-out jumpers. Just trying to get between the 2 and the 4.
Well, for Potgieter, couldn't crack the Australian schoolboys team this year, but made the Australian A instead. Went to have quite a nice little rugby career, playing for University of Queensland, Queensland Country in the NRC, and was over at Mazda Blue Zoomers in Hiroshima, Japan, just last year.
The Mazda Blue Zoomers.
They've got to think for the team names, don't they?
Oh, they're sensational names, the Zoomers.
And we hope we'll see a bit of Potgieter in the shoot shield for Southern Districts this year if COVID doesn't get in the way of those plans.
We get back to the action. That was McKittrick. Back to the fullback. Finding a running now. Anderson, a try scorer for Ipswich, but can't improve himself.
Gee, Toowoomba making them work hard in this breakdown to secure ball.
You're not kidding. So just trying to come out of trouble now, but Toowoomba Grammar really keen in defence. The big man showing his footwork, getting the ball. He's switching hands, but unfortunately now, Billy Sullivan.
Switching hands and leaves it behind.
And Potgieter, the man we were just talking about, comes away with the ball just over halfway. Well,
get like a gazelle, a giraffe.
He's got to be given a chance to play the ball.
Prancing.
Well, probably doing plenty of prancing over with the Zupa Dupas, what they called over.
The Blue Zoomers.
Zoomers. Oh, that's a sensational kick just down in the 22. So with good line-out strength here for Toowoomba Grammar.
I think that's probably Phil taking a breath after his one carry for the half.
So line-out's got to be strong. Stewart, who's been a defensive key this afternoon. Potgieter at 2. Goes up, no real defence. They come around the front of Bagor. Bagor just offloads, but goes a little bit forward.
Well, Farnana Schultz shut the door hard, but it could have been a piece of brilliance from Toowoomba Grammar. Potgieter just stood there, had no one to pass to, had to really wait for a runner to come onto it.
Well, you don't see many coming around the front of the line out these days, but just seemed to be a pause in play.
Let's go. Crouch.
So we see a bit of a change in the back row.
Touch.
Menenko
Pause.
going to blindside flanker. Well, short arm penalty when they had the ball. Early push, early contact.
Early.
So
Well, we're going to see the Falcon again, perhaps.
Oh, it's a bit of a confusion, but the running inside. Oh, Jordan Drew. He'll want to take that one again.
Takao goes boom.
And the ball still coming back, and the referee puts his arm up for not using their feet.
Jordan Drew's jumped to his feet, but he won't take a breath till half-time. That was a colossal shot.
Well, as a big forward, don't you love seeing those outside backs running through?
You've got to support your own weight. You can't lean on them.
Yeah, well, Drew was cutting that inside line, had nowhere to go. The big shoulders of Latham Takao filled up every avenue. There was no escaping that shot. Oh, I think we're going to see Adam Deck take a shot.
Again, you've received penalties for it.
Thank you, sir. Just, if they continually do it.
Mate, it's going both ways, and both teams can put you penalties. We're getting an open game.
No, thank goodness.
That's right.
Well, Phil Potgieter giving the referee his seal of approval.
Just curious, he says. Oh, how's that captaincy?
Makes no mistake this time. Toowoomba go ahead.
Is he still chirping?
11 points to 5.
It's them, obviously, not you. No. Well, I wouldn't have given you the free kick then, would I?
Oh, good report.
Oh, it's a bit nippy, isn't it, out there? And we teased Phil, but we named him as Toowoomba's captain of the decade, of their team of the decade last year. One of the best.
We restart just under half time, couple of minutes to go. Getting a good purchase again, getting down to the 22. Scrum half Deck looking around. Beg your pardon, that was Kitson taking on the defence. That's Deck now showing a little bit of a box kick. That's a well-weighted kick. The ball bounces from Sullivan. Sullivan on the chase. Sullivan and the fullback going against each other. And he's taken him back over the try line, which should be a 5-metre scrum.
Bailey Sullivan, the super sub, goes 60 metres downfield and forces the turnover. What a play.
What a bounce of a rugby ball. It could have been a number of different ways, and the ball goes back end on end. And the poor fullback had no other choice but to dive with the ball.
Well, fun on a Schultz. He got close to it, but in that swirling breeze, couldn't quite lock it down. And now they've got a real defensive task on their hands. A minute to go till half-time. Toowoomba knocking on the door.
Crouch.
So it's a tactical change here. Bagor goes to number 8.
Engage.
Deck with a feed. Both front rowers staying up this time. The scrum half has a trap himself. Can't get away from Ipswich Grammar's defensive line. Turns and passes. Potgieter.
Oh, there he is.
Potgieter scores. Wow. Well, that was his patience there, Darvo, and it really just took some time, but had to happen just on half-time.
Well, you take it all back to the outstanding work of the replacement winger, Billy Sullivan, getting his team into position, and the skipper. Well, there'll be a pat on the back for Sullivan for sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, coming away with this wind in the first half, Darvo, you need to have some points running into the win second half, and they've done that too. As we look at the beautiful background up the range. And
yeah, no, it's absolutely stunning shot. And on those O'Callaghan Cup days, that hill behind you absolutely packed.
Oh, and when you say, when we mean packed, we mean packed. Unbelievable.
Not a blade
year.
of grass visible.
That's it.
Well, it was one of the great O'Callaghan Cup matches last year.
Very much
Certainly
so.
one of the closest. It's been a bit iffy in the past. Toowoomba have had some big wins in that rivalry.
Where's the blood?
Well, 18 points to 5 go to half time, and Ipswich all the work to do in this Toowoomba Grammar Week. 2012, round 5.
Well, I think for Toowoomba, it'd be a bit of a frustrating half. I mean, they had the chance to flex some attacking muscle, but those little knock-ons, little obstructions, all those little things that went against them, they really had to work out of a disjointed attacking platform. If they had the chance to string together some phases, they could really be something. And this match could get blown out quickly.
Well, you're right. Just those little last touches for Ipswich was a real killer for them in the first half. And the ball
Excellent
goes
restart.
down. Boy, Stevens just couldn't handle it.
Well, that is a cracking way to get the half back underway. Inch perfect.
So nothing worse than the wind, in the sun. Ball goes high right near your 5 metre line, the 10 metre line, sorry. It couldn't be anything worse in the world.
Pause, engage.
Sims with a feed.
Hold the drive.
Varner Schultz not giving them the cleanest ball. The big body gets manhandled, but great body height over the top of the ball. And the ball comes back for Deck. Whoa, wow.
A penalty to Ipswich.
Side, number 8.
Manenko, he came.
Straight from the side.
Wow, well, geez. That's a pretty tight side, I'd say. I'd say the gate was pretty open.
Well, Ipswich won't be arguing that at all. A chance for them to get some points on the scoreboard. It starts to cut back this lead, 13 points.
Don't close the gap, Blue.
No contest by Toowoomba. Fly half looking at runners. They did this before, and I think
breaker.
they found some shoulders before. David Harris hits and spins. Harris dancing around the defence of Toowoomba Grammar. Great offload to some bigger bodies through the middle. Cleaning through. This is better stuff. This is what they did in the first half. Please.
And Ipswich really building some momentum now.
To Cow. We'll see now. Adcock looking for runners. Finds a big pass. There's numbers out here. Stephen had a rampaging Anderson, but didn't use him.
It's over the line. Scrum.
Well, an opportunity wasted, you've got to say. Stephen, the open side flanker, had Carlin Anderson unmarked on the left. A simple draw and pass would have put him away.
Just be aware, I'm quite conscious of you guys taking out their players beyond the ball. We've already had one penalty for it down there, and number 4 over here was marginal. Just be careful.
What do you mean, mate?
Beyond the tackle, you don't take anybody out.
So on the other side of the rock, yeah.
Correct.
Just leave it in the...
Oh, you're 5.
Oh, is that what, I always love listening to players. Oh, is that what you mean, sir? Yep, sure, no worries, sir. Fantastic stuff.
Pause, engage.
So scrum time, Sims. Has a go himself, Sims.
Oh, what a tackle. Deck and Jerd slammed the door shut.
The big body, well, that's exactly what Ipswich Grammar wanted just after half time.
You can't argue with my position.
So
Try.
coming straight out of the scrum, Latham Takau scoring. It's in the front rowers club today, isn't it? Both front rowers scoring.
Well, I think a sigh of relief from the open side flanker, Jake Stephen. His teammate crosses and the miss to Carl Anderson will be forgotten.
That's good thinking, mate. That's good thinking. I'm good, mate. Could use a jumper.
It does get cool out on the range. So this sunny day, but it does get cold.
Aaron Adcock has been a great servant this afternoon. He's been really getting some great ball to Teller and Hayes. And
yeah, he's really good at getting those centres involved, and what a benefit this Ipswich backline to have a figure like Mika Teller steaming back. All of a sudden, that decoy element that he can bring to the backline, it shuts down what other teams are willing to do in line speed.
he'd want to take that one again every day of the week, wouldn't he, Aaron Adcock?
Well, the margin's still 2 tries.
So Kidson to restart. Plenty of action down one end of the field so far, in both halves. Blaze Hartley over the top of the ball, just cannot seem to pilfer it. Goes back.
Stop 8.
That's a very nice kick, but ball bounces up. The rugby ball, oh dear, again.
Oh, and the spill.
The spill, well.
Jack Parcell couldn't pick it up, but it was a cruel bounce for Billy Sullivan, wasn't it?
Let's go, boys.
Well,
And the knock-on's going to go against Parcell.
well, you can just after half-time scoring, you can just tell Ipswich Grammar just that little bit more
Make sure you're not going early.
wind in the sails, I suppose you could be.
Touch.
Could use that analogy.
Pause.
Well, what a
Engage.
great chance to see if they can involve Jonah Placid on this play.
So goes out. Kidson. Oh, that was more forward than I've ever seen a pass in my life. And I'm actually quite surprised it's a scrum.
That was nearly offside.
I look forward to our production team cutting that one down again in the future. That was one of the great forward passes in the history of rugby.
He's a great bloke, TK. Went on to be the club captain of the UQ Rugby Club and studying to be a doctor as well. So he's a bright fella, but that pass was not his brightest at all.
Pause. Engage.
That'll do, mate.
Stopping early.
So takes a quick tap. This
Oh! Jordan Drew!
There's some rib tickle if you ever seen one.
No hands.
But again, Mulherron gets up. The second row, Parcell flicks the ball back to Preen. Preen finds the wheels of Anderson. Not much room to move. They've got to be good here, Toowoomba Grammar.
Well, Ipswich scored in this position a few moments ago. Can they repeat the medicine?
Finding runners of Stephen. Ball comes out. Coming back to the left-hand side. They want to try to find the fullback chiming in. Well, defensively have been strong now.
7 roll.
Just gets out of there just in time, I think. Bagor. Going through the middle. Referee said before he's just watching those defensive players getting taken out, but Ipswich have been very good. Get low, Marcus, you can hear. Oh, looks around. Harris. Body height was not a key there.
4 out of space.
Jeez, I tell you what, Toowoomba Grammar have been very... Go the strength of Takao. But no, this time can't.
Well, Jonah Placid underneath the giant frame of Latham Takau. He saved a certain try.
Well, that was great patience by both teams there, Darvo. Grammar in defence and Ipswich with attack.
I'm honestly not sure how he didn't score from that position, the big fella. I thought he was there. Some brilliant defensive involvement from the Toowoomba boys. But they're not out of the frying pan yet. And from this close range, you have to think that Jamison Fanana Schultz would be a threat.
Well,
And those big boppers don't stop coming.
You can see the fly half, Tom Kitson. There's going to be a bit of a mismatch going to the right-hand side, but...
Very clear. Pause.
Wow.
Oh, they're giving it away. Well, lucky break for Toowoomba because they were about to be put under some strain.
Calm down.
Well, you can't say that's a surprise. You've been very consistent this afternoon, the referee. And that's just a coach killer. If you've got the ball, you don't want to such a cheap penalty to give away. Cheap short arm.
A long kick, but hasn't found touch.
Excellent. Goes to the biggest man on the field. Oh, great contact by, who was that? Jordan Drew. Shooting out was Placid. Placid holds on well. Wow, over the top.
Get on your feet.
Jeez, I tell you what, Jordan Drew had every right to go for that ball, I think, but
Put your own way. Straight in off your feet.
Well, I think the easy option is to go for the line. On a windy day this far out, you wouldn't back your kickers from there.
Great
Strong entry. And now we get a chance to see what Ipswich can conjure up from here. They've had some dangerous backs in this game. Teller, particularly so. McKittrick, troublesome on the right wing.
No contest like Toowoomba Grammar. And the natives are getting rests on the sideline. Get a school cheer. Adcock finds some runners to Teller. Teller, strong on his feet. Was a good contest on the ball too. And oh, good turnover. That was a really good contest on the ground. Placid.
And now a chance to do something.
Placid just can't get away. Jersey slung. Billy Sullivan.
A late tackle? Yeah.
Well, there we go. Sullivan.
Taking out the kicker. Oh, no arms.
Number 8, that was particularly you. Shouldn't have been in there.
Well, let's have a look at Billy Sullivan. It might not even be him there, Darvo. He might have done his dash and come off as well.
Well, whoever it was, he ate a big shot from Teller and Schultz.
So just in front of the Grammar crowd there. Alistair Stewart. Potgieter makes no mistake.
Yeah, steady hands.
Just an acceleration. Blaze Hartley accelerated over those 2 yards, was met with good defence. Well, Aaron Pleasure, skipper, should know better.
From the back.
Well, let's say forces mass times acceleration. There was acceleration from Hartley, and there was mass from Takao. That was a forceful impact.
I don't need your advice all the time.
Okay, boys, not talking to the ref.
Unfortunately, they're inaccurate. So that's not helping your cause.
I absolutely agree. We don't need to hear so much from Phil Potgieter.
But I did hear Potgieter say to the rest of his team, he doesn't need advice, guys. Yeah, so
Yeah, no.
that's called deflection.
Yeah, throwing a teammates under the bus.
So another chance from Toowoomba Grammar. 46 minutes gone. So Woollerton finds some running. Toowoomba Grammar backline not contesting the breakdown. Alex Stevens finding his fly half. Kidson.
I think it's the first bit of multi-phase play we've seen from Toowoomba Grammar in the second half.
So just goes on the outside. Well picked up by Vanzati.
Caught like a Swedish meatball.
Roll out.
Very topical.
Time off. That was your entry.
Well, before we listen to the referee.
That's number 8 from the side. So now we're getting penalties for your guys. I don't need to speak to you. Guys coming from the side, affecting the tackle contest when they're hot on the attack. Okay. Particularly now in the 22. I don't want to be going yellow. I want to keep everyone here.
Well, Vanzati, just going back to that one there, Vanzati, Darvo, that ball was going out in front of him. He pulled that in perfectly for a big man.
Take it quickly.
So setting up the driving ball. Ipswich Grammar seem to be getting away with that one. Kidson finding some runners. Inside run to Drew.
Takao going over the top.
Fast
Oh,
ball.
some space out here perhaps.
Placid finds it running. 21. No, it's not Billy Sullivan. This time as well. Is that a try? It is too.
Placid.
Well,
On the line.
it's the history of the left wing here for Toowoomba Grammar. 21.
Well, he reels it in. Placid had some work to do, scrambling. Not quite on his hands and knees, but he needed to get down. And a big try to take the lead out to 13 again.
Well, I tell you what, there wasn't much doing on the right-hand side. They shifted it left and Jonah Placid.
Well, I think when they went left, we thought there may have been some space out there. Really, there wasn't much space at all. It was just the one-on-one matchup where Placid had the chance to really chance his arm. And when you have players of that caliber, that's all you need.
So looking back to last week where Toowoomba had a big win, the O'Callaghan Cup. One of the great days, Darvo, as we know.
All at Toowoomba turns out for the O'Callaghan Cup. The historic rivalry between the two big rugby schools.
Step back for me, one.
See Adam Deck dicing up. You see Mac Mason, the New South Wales Waratah, former Red, former Melbourne Storm, playing 10 for Downlands.
Well, as we said before, this is up the road at Downlands College, and you can just tell what that means. Look at that.
Love that.
And a sandbag.
Mason dives in late. And there's a body slam in there.
Well, you can just say how much that means to the young fellas.
As Harry White, the winger who missed out on today, an early injury.
Oh, it could have been
As Manenko.
prop to prop.
And it's all becoming a bit of a bloodbath for Toowoomba Grammar.
And again, this is one of the great games. This is one of the great fields to watch rugby at as well, down there at Downlands.
Well, that was the start, I believe, of a bit of a run for Toowoomba Grammar over Downlands. Only broken last year when Mac Greeley, who's just been signed by the Queensland Reds, put on a clinic to snatch back the O'Callaghan Cup.
I have to
I think
say,
a 5-year drought it was.
we were there last year, Nick Darvanese, and that was one of the great games of rugby.
Well, not if you're a Toowoomba Grammar fan.
Stevens off the top. Just trying to get on the outside. Beats, can't beat.
I guess one of the big things for Toowoomba Grammar, where every other GPS school in the comp, when they have their bye round, it's a chance to sort of relax, take it easy, not exert yourself so much. Whereas for Toowoomba, the bye week is the biggest game of the year for them. They don't get that chance to settle things down.
So Bagor gets that ball back nicely. Kidson trying to just try to find the dirt, but can't. That was McKittrick. Can't find his flying fullback. But you can actually see the tactic now by Toowoomba Grammar. Let's just try to get it down into the corners and
I'll give him a 4 out of 10 for the dive, mate.
get Ipswich Grammar running out of trouble.
Right here.
Oh, Nigel Lyons would have been proud of that one.
Get off 2 front rows here, please.
Some nice chirping from the ref.
Yeah. Guys, I've basically been talking to almost every scrum, be it head-to-head, early engage, watching your angles, whatever else. Let's get out of the game because you're giving away penalties and free kicks which are affecting your own team. Let's get the ball in, get your binds up, keep straight. Deal? Yeah. Let's do it. Wait for my call.
Yeah, and I like that as well,
Time on
Chets.
here. Mark
You
here.
make the front rows take ownership. You're letting your team down. Just scrum properly. And we'll see what comes of the referee's chat.
It's got to be straight. Crouch. Touch. Pause.
Well, one team didn't take that on.
Oh, you just knew, didn't you? In the back of your head. Oh, they were warned. You cannot say they weren't warned.
Well, everyone agreed with the referee until they came to scrum time. And here we go again.
They call it again. All right, I believe.
I don't know what more
I
you want me to do.
believe.
I'm about to go full-on penalties at these scrums. I'm getting bored. Let's sort it out, please. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Well, no, got rid of the pause now in this day and age, but good scrum by Ipswich Grammar.
Oh, best scrum of the game.
Kitson finding his running back line.
Roll out, tackler.
Bagor busy this afternoon. Stewart finding.
Oh,
Stewart jumping into the defence, literally jumping.
Questionable manoeuvre.
Very, very questionable. Running rugby now as Toowoomba Grammar come through the right-hand side of the right-hand channel. Looping Harbour Bridge pass. Kitson shows inside row to Hartley. Just taking their time. But again, Ipswich Grammar aren't really panicking in defence. They're not committing to the breakdown. Stewart, who started this raid.
Well, absolutely no release there as well.
Landon Hayes over the top. A little bit of cramp action by the number 8, Manenko. Hit and spin. Toowoomba Grammar taking their time. Misses a big body contact.
Looking for the pop pass, please not rolling away.
Hooker with the block play. Kitson finding inside rudder to Hartley. Hartley trying to pump those legs to get past, but
That would hurt. The body slam from Taka.
130 kilos on top of your small frame. Placid coming out.
4, get on. 4, 4. Advantage, 4.
Well, the referee did give him enough opportunity there to move away. Did speak to him. Ball's just coming to the left. Good ball. He's been the everywhere man this afternoon. Toowoomba Grammar just taking their time, edging their way up the park.
10 onside.
Switch at the block play. Kitson tries to put a little grubber through.
Oh!
And unfortunately there, Placids couldn't pick the ball up. Well, I'd have to say that's a win for Ipswich Grammar there, Nick Darvanese, that they can't get through them. They're going to try to kick under them.
I think they're lucky not to get away with the yellow card here. The referee did warn them previously. Multiple penalties inside the 22. There's another one right there. It's a shame because if it wasn't for the slip of Placid in the offside earlier, Mikatella might have been away. That could have been a 100-metre or 85 odd runaway try.
Well, I'd personally be saying to the Ipswich Grammar boys, that's a win there for us because basically they couldn't get through them.
13.
Oh. Looking like Deck's third penalty goal of the afternoon. Haven't been too hard this afternoon either. I shouldn't say that. Well,
does that go down as a drop goal or a penalty in the match stats?
That'll be a penalty still, but pretty sure.
I think there wasn't a need for it because you're not allowed to charge it down.
No, only when
just showing off, Decky.
Only when you're doing a conversion. Once you start in for the kick, if it falls off, play on. So scores 26 points to 10, 57 minutes gone. Oh! There was a hit and spin, then a squash.
Oh, it's clobbering time.
That's a really nice kick by Toowoomba Grammar.
Well, the crowd is saying it as it is. They need to fire up now. 13 minutes to play. 16 points in the hole. Ipswich Grammar have got to find something, and fast. Because the time on the clock is not their friend.
So, David Harris for the throw. So Harris looking at a clean throw. Goes up at 2. Just gets in front of Pockita. Sims finding Adcock. Adcock just overcooks a little bit, the fullback. Been very involved this afternoon, the fullback. Pick and drive. This is where Ipswich Grammar have been very strong this afternoon, the pick and drive. And they've got to be very careful as well in case the... Well...
Vanzati marches him back.
There was nothing doing there.
Get on your feet. You're not supporting your own weight, you're crawling through.
Well, 16 points down, Darva. You've got to keep going for it, don't you?
You do. Not a bad spot to set a scrum in from the midfield. You got options either side, but I wouldn't back their front row to get it back to them.
That's a belter of a kick too, just over the 5 metre line. You'd want to be the next team to score, Ipswich Grammar.
Absolutely have to be.
Well, Toowoomba Grammar don't go up at all, but it seems to work for them.
As Nick Willerton from a cattle farm out at Mungalala, 90 minutes west of Roma. The line-out steal without jumping.
Mustn't do much jumping out in Mungalala.
There you go.
Mungalala.
That was
Can I have the two captains here, please?
this should be good.
The anomaly of the contest, but at the same time too, we still need to do the job. Both teams are now starting to come off their feet, and we're not releasing the tackle player. It's affecting the contest, and we're dishing out far too many penalties than I'd like. All right, you know what's going on, guys. Let's play the game. We're great in the first half. Things are going downhill. Let's play the game. Let's go. Time
So
on.
simple fact of the matter is just keep your feet. I think if Ipswich Grammar
Gap.
really want to
Thanks.
take that on board, because they've been doing really well, staying on their feet, driving through the middle. Again, doesn't go.
Oh, Schultz.
Well, you're not going to stop him, surely.
Oh, I think they will.
And they do.
Let it go. Let it
Wow. What about that one?
Placid has come up with two incredible try savers.
go. Ball's placed on the line. Then you
Oh, but it's all for naught as Latham Takow.
Well, when you've got a body like Anna Schultz coming at you, then Takow, they did well to hold up the big number 8.
It's a 1-2 punch of substance for Ipswich Grammar. And Toowoomba Grammar, well, how many of those try-saving tackles could they pull off? Well, they couldn't come up with one that time. We shouldn't discount the role that Tom Kidson, TK, the fly half,
And
a
sometimes,
stalwart of the Caloundra Lighthouses.
and sometimes as a player, you just can't get out of the way, can you? You don't have a choice to stop a big body like that. But yeah, no, well done. Like,
And there's a pretty decent spread throughout Queensland in this Toowoomba team, not just local boys. I mean, we've got some from Goondiwindi, from Millmerran, Mungalala, as we say, and surprisingly, a fair few from South Australia. We got Van Zardi from Strathalbine in SA, and two Adelaide boys in Adam Deck and Anton Manenko. Not to mention Rockhampton's Jonah Placid.
it's a treasure trove of different places. Oh, here we go. Let's turn over. But Gore takes that ball well. 26 points to 17.
Oh, Toowoomba looking for the killer blow now, the dagger.
So thrusted over the sideline. Well, they won't be comfortable yet, Toowoomba Grammar. Not that long to go. Stewart with a throw. Wind seems to die down just a little bit, going by the touchy's flag. Parcell. But the ball gets turned over. Toowoomba Grammar.
Oh, there were no arms
wow.
there. Yeah,
And he
might
knows
be in
it
trouble.
too. The 2-try hero this afternoon.
Oh, he could be a 0 if he's sent off here.
I'm not talking about the line out.
It's my dispenser, sorry.
Clearly. You don't want to affect what's happening right now and leave your team one man short, particularly this time of the game. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sir.
You know what's expected. Do the job, please.
I know about that.
Well, he's frustrated himself, but Latham Takow,
Twice you were over on that side of the field, grabbing the guy in the air.
I think he just talked himself out of a yellow card, and it would have been a red card with 8 minutes to play.
Can I just tell you how I love rugby players? He knew exactly what he did wrong. And then, yes sir, yes sir. That's sensation, that's rugby all over.
He knew as soon as it happened, didn't he?
The head went
I
down.
understand what you're saying, but over there, particularly on the 22, that's what I was watching.
And we should say another penalty committed inside the Ipswich 22 with no yellow card given.
Well, I think in 2020, Darva, that's it. Yeah, you're saying definitely yellow. Most probably could be a red as well, but we go back to the game. Big scrum by Ipswich Grammar, sensational
Well,
scrum.
he stands up.
Gets hold of that That's over 60 metres. Look at that. That's rolling end on end. 65 metres on the fly. Even the touch judge can't make it there.
And does that flip the script in one massive scrum? A tight head scrum win and the booming kick downfield. All of a sudden, Ipswich with the wind at their back.
Well, Takao says, I'll take this on board.
And isn't that what you want? Accountability. You make a mistake, you go out there and make a big play to help your team as well.
So Alistair Stewart.
I think Ipswich have to drop one more.
Potke.
Oh, here he goes. He's going straight.
And I think you might have saw Blaze Hartley saying, thank you very much for the whistle there.
Yeah, that's a big few moment. And now this Takao fired up.
And he's moved to the... No, he hasn't. Yes, he did.
Can they repeat the dose? Oh, he's popped him straight away.
He's got some anger through Takao, but no, he's saying taking him up.
Dangerous play, number 3, standing up.
I just think he's strong enough and good enough to go straight through the opposition.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to do that.
Just been bent in half. You're right. 5 minutes to go. Just here, mate.
Well, I'm no expert on refereeing, but I would have awarded that as a dominant scrum. Well, you just saw the power on show though, didn't you?
So we get back to it.
And Toowoomba with some running in their field as well.
So Drew shows and goes. The number 8, Benenko.
What was that?
Ball comes out. The open side flanker. Well, I'll tell you what, Takao's taking it on himself, trying to get himself back into the game. Vanzardi with a big run. But the ball
like
pops
a
out.
reindeer steaming through the middle.
Okay, so Sims finding contact. Jonah plushes over the top of the ball. Throwing players out of the way. Harris pops the ball to Pleash. Harris takes another one. He wants more, gets off to his front row partner. Body height was not the key there.
4 out of the space.
Toowoomba Grammar just seem to be doing enough to thwart these raids.
That's some straight running.
Takao in the background. He's pooped.
Well, what an enormous shift. 65 minutes in for a bloke with that weight to carry around the field.
Mulheron accelerates through the middle. Hayes takes the ball
building up
again.
steam.
Matter of time coming through. Oh, that's great contact.
And Placid eats a big shot for his efforts.
So time is not on Ipswich Grammar's hands here. Hartley just kicks. The ball bounces up. Inside run to the open side flanker. The ball is bouncing. Wow. Well, there's no runners there for Toowoomba Grammar. They thought the ball was going out. Potgieter. That's a skipper's run. Take the ball out. That's what you want. Ball out of play.
There's a 5 here.
Well, 3 minutes to go. Ipswich have got to do something with it now. They simply must. There is not time. They need to score right now.
Yeah. White.
2.5 minutes to play. 9 points.
Here we go.
And there's tired bodies all over the field.
It's a long drive home to Ipswich from here.
Crouch.
But Ipswich with
Touch. Pause. Engage.
another couple of opportunities. They need to score to be any chance. Ball is scrappy at the back. Adcock looking runners, but goes straight through. Hold
Here
the
we
phone.
go.
Landon Hayes shows him goes, got Hayes outside him. Hayes is a foot race. Landon Hayes, will he score? Hayes will score.
There it is. Well, we said they need to score now, and what does Ipswich do? They come up with the biggest try of the match.
Well, I thought he blew that with 2 runners on the outside, but momentum got him there.
Aaron Adcock, like a speedy Stephen Larkham, slicing through that line. And the deceptive dummy, the show and go. What an effort from your fly half, stepping up with the game on the line. And a kick that's largely elementary, you've got to say.
Well, Adcock, he's passed and passed and passed and kicked and passed, and he runs it in the last couple of minutes.
Well, I take it back. You get this kick and a penalty goal will get you the win, so it's an important kick.
Well, that win certainly did take it. So 26-22,
So
Toowoomba.
Ipswich, well, they produced 1 try in the space of 10 seconds. Can they find another? And what defence does Toowoomba Grammar have left in their tank?
So here we go. 47 seconds, mate.
To keep their season alive in round 5, they can't afford another loss.
So they don't go. Wow! No look for the ball there, and I tell you what,
Without the ball.
both those players had no eyes for the ball. They just wanted to hurt someone.
Yep.
Well, you didn't want to. I mean, there was one thing you didn't want to do as Toowoomba Grammar. It's give away a penalty to piggyback the other team up the field.
Well, you can hear in the.
And that's a monstrous kick.
Wow, you can actually hear in the microphone there, Darvo, the referee's Casio watch going off.
We are in final play. 10 metres out.
So David Harris has to be spot on here. This will be it. Last opportunity.
Let's get it in. Come on.
Harris with a throw to Preen. Preen goes down, comes back. They probably wanted to keep the ball. They saw a big body coming at him.
And this is right where Ipswich want them.
Advantage, offside.
Wow.
Oh, penalty advantage. The big bodies marshalling their way to the line.
Well, what are we going to see here? Great line speed by Toowoomba Grammar.
Well, more from Takow, more from Schultz. Will the battering ram Mikatella be up next?
Sims finds his fly half. Sees goes through to the man who started the raid early a few minutes ago.
And Thomas Kidson gets in there and blows up the play.
Well, what do you do here? Well, you've got to go for the tap, obviously.
Well, this is before the rules changed where you could kick out for the line. It's a quick tap or bust. And this for the match.
So who's the man? Gets tainted with the quick tap. David Harris with a tap, barking orders.
Oh,
no! What's Harris done?
Disaster for Ipswich.
Oh, David Harris, you poor man.
Well, devastation on the faces of Ipswich Grammar. Relief, jubilation and celebration on Toowoomba's. They can't believe what just happened.
Well, look at all those bodies there, Darvo. That's devastating.
They were 7 metres from the promised land. And they'll stay 7 metres after an unthinkable error. Well, what a match indeed up on the range. And another unforgettable clash in their long and illustrious history between these two schools.
Well, what a game that was. That was one of those games where I tell you what, it was parts very, very scrappy, but other parts some really exciting footy, but some really good flashes of skill with guys like Placid and Mikatella.
Well, Toowoomba Grammar went into this game with the more star-studded team on paper, but I think both these sides, they flashed in equal measure, I think. A few little moments of where Toowoomba got the better of Ipswich were the difference in the end. Those 3 penalty goals from Adam Deck, evidence that ill discipline cost Ipswich dearly. And what a thrilling finish. Another thrilling finish over at Northgate where Brisbane Grammar late come from behind win to win in the end comfortably over Brisbane Boys College. Battle of the Colours, Nudgee College 50 points to 13 over Terrace. Another thumping win, one of their 27 from 30. And then the Southport School getting the wood over Brisbane State High in another thumping.
Well, that's another wrap-up of the week, Darvo. 2012, round 5. Toowoomba Grammar taking that one out with an awful way to finish the game for Ipswich Grammar. My name is Michael Chettle. We'll see you next week for the final week of the 2020 pre-season with the Southport School Week. Good afternoon.